Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to discuss all the possible questions that could come from the story Footprints Without Feet. So make sure you watch this video until the end. The first question, why were the two boys surprised to see the fresh muddy imprints of a pair of bare foot? A. They were wondering where the man was. B. They wondered what a barefoot man was doing on the steps of a house in the middle of London. C. They were astonished how the barefooted man could walk on snow. Or D. They were surprised that the man had no head. So, why were the two boys surprised to see the fresh muddy imprints of a pair of barefoot? The option is A, because they were wondering where the man was, and it is also option B, they wondered what a barefoot man was doing on the steps in the middle of London. Okay, next question. What was the remarkable discovery that a scientist had done? So the scientist had discovered how to make the human body invisible. So that was the brilliant discovery that the scientist made. How did the scientist manage to be invisible? A. He had a remote controlled machine. B. He had a liquid which when poured on the body made it invisible. C. He swallowed certain rare drugs that made the body transparent. Or D. He consumed a chemical liquid which was formed after years of research. Do you know the answer? It is option C. Yes, he swallowed certain rare drugs. Okay. Next one. What was one drawback of the invisibility? So, though the scientist could become as transparent as a sheet of glass, he remained as solid as a glass. So, that was one drawback of the invisibility. Even though people could not see him, they could feel him. Next, though Griffin was a brilliant scientist, why was he called a lawless person? This is a very important question from the story. So throughout the story, they have explained why he was a lawless person. So let's go through it as I have compiled the entire thing. So first, when his landlord disliked him and tried to get rid of him, Griffin in revenge set fire to the landlord's house. That is the first thing that he did. Next, also, he entered a clothes store where he clothed and fed himself without regard to expense. Later, in the theatrical company, after he stole the clothes, he attacked the shopkeeper from behind and stole all his money, which shows he has no sympathy and he's a lawless person. So without paying, he clothed himself and also fed himself. And here he stole, not only did he steal the clothes, but he also stole all the money from the shopkeeper and also he attacked him. Then in the inn, he stole money from the desk of the clergyman as he had run out of stolen money. Then he also attacked the clergyman and his wife when they had entered the room of the scientist. Lastly, he knocked the police unconscious and hit all the people with blows who tried to get hold of him. So all of these instances show that he was a lawless person. So this is very important. Please go through this answer twice or thrice at least. Okay, next one. Why was Griffin without clothes and why was it a bad time to wander without clothes? So to get away from the landlord without being seen, Griffin had to remove his clothes and thus he became a homeless wanderer. It was midwinter, So he had chosen a bad time to wander without clothes, as the air was bitterly cold and he could not do without clothes. So it answers both the question of why he was without clothes and why was it a bad time to wander without clothes as well. Next one. What did the scientist do for warmth? A. He went to a hotel and slept in one of the rooms. B. He went to a mall and spent the night there. C. He slept on the streets with the homeless. Or D. He slipped into a big London store. So after he was homeless and thrown out by the landlord, what did he do? He, answer is D, yes, slipped into a big London store. So what did he do inside the store? I've written it in bullet points so that you can recall the answer. First, what did he do? He broke open the boxes and wrappers and he first wore warm clothes. Second, he wore an overcoat, a wide brimmed hat and shoes. Third, in the kitchen of the restaurant, he found cold meat and coffee, followed by sweets and wine from the grocery store. Okay, so these are all the things that he did inside the store. Next, after he was discovered from the store, where did he go? A. Visited a circus company. B. Went to a motel. C. Visited a theatrical company. Or D. Went to another clothes store. So from the store, because he overslept, he was discovered there. So after that, where did he go? I hope you know the answer. It is C. He visited a theatrical company. Then to escape from crowded London, where did he go? A. To a village named Iping. B. To the outskirts of London city. C. To a small hamlet named Dulwich. Or D. He went to a quaint marketplace called Guildford. The answer is option A, to a village named Iping. Next, what set the tongues wagging when he reached the inn in Iping? So the arrival of a stranger in winter was an unusual event. On top of that, a stranger of such uncommon appearance set all the tongues wagging. First of all, arrival of a stranger in the winter itself was an unusual event. On top of that, his uncommon appearance also added to all the tongues wagging in that small village. Why did Mrs. Hall find the scientist eccentric? Again, important question. So apart from his strange appearance and arrival during winter, which itself was an unusual event, he had no desire to talk and mentioned that he had come to Iping with a desire for solitude. He further stated that he did not wish to be disturbed at work and an accident had affected his face. Therefore, his irritable temper and strange habits convinced her that he was eccentric. So these are all the various reasons why she felt that the person was having eccentric personality, something weird. Next, why was Mrs. Hall prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper? A. Because she was scared of him. B. Because he had paid her in advance. C. Because she did not want to incite more anger in him. D. Because she had no other choice. The answer is option B. This was the reason why she had decided to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper as he had paid her in advance. Okay. Shortly after Griffin spent all the money he had stolen, what curious episode occurred in the inn? So once Griffin spent all his money, what did he do? He tried to steal the money from the clergyman and his wife. So let's look into the answer. Very early in the morning, the clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study where they heard a chink of money being taken from his desk. When they flung open the door, they were amazed that the room was empty, where there wasn't a sign of anybody. Yet, the desk had been opened and the money was missing. So, this was the curious episode that occurred in the inn. Even though they could not see anybody, they heard the money being taken. What extraordinary behavior was noticed by Mr. and Mrs. Hall when they entered the room of the scientist? So, what is the first thing that happened? Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ears. Then the hat that was on the bedpost leapt up and dashed into her face. So first, she heard a sniff close to her ears, hat dashed into her face. Third, the bedroom chair became alive, springing into air and charged straight at her leg foremost. So the leg was towards her and it was charging directly at her. The chair pushed both of them out of the room, then slammed and locked the door after them. So Mrs. Hall was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had caused it to enter the furniture. So she believed that the stranger had something to do with this and there were spirits in that room. Why did the suspicion grew that the scientist had stolen the money from the clergyman? A. He looked like a thief. B. He was a strange man and his arrival was itself a strange event. C. All the other guests were well known. Or D. He suddenly produced cash after stating that he had no money. So why did the suspicion of everyone grew towards the scientist? The answer is D. He suddenly produced money after saying that he had no money. Was Mr. Jaffers, the constable, scared when he saw that he had to arrest a headless man? Was he scared? Definitely not. He was surprised but not scared. He was a diligent police officer and he was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If the magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, then he had to be arrested with or without a head. So, Mr. Jaffers just wanted to do his duty and was not surprised when he came to know that the person he had come to arrest had no head. Coming to yet another very important question. What is the main moral of the story Footprints Without Feet? The story highlights that scientific discovery should be used ethically and morally, and that the scientists have a responsibility to not misuse it. In the story, the scientist misuses the scientific knowledge to steal, hit people, and for his selfish and harmful purposes. Therefore, it should not be forgotten that with great power comes great responsibility, and that we should not misuse it, or else it will transform even a brilliant scientist into a criminal. So this is the main moral of the story, Footprints Without Feet, that scientists should use their discovery ethically and morally, and they have a huge responsibility vested on their shoulders. That any scientific discovery should be used for the greater good of mankind and not for their personal use or to cause any harm in the society. And we have completed all the questions Wasn't it a thorough revision of this entire chapter? Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video until the end. And if you haven't subscribed, do that right now and also share this video among all your friends. Thank you. God bless and take care.